Yes, I just want to appreciate you. I want you, I just want to appreciate you just for some minutes. There is something the Lord has been shared to my spirit. There is a dimension of prayer and a dimension of worship. Listen, the greatest dimension to access the presence of God is worship. Prayer, prayer is the second dimension. This is the dimension for babies. I'm sorry to say that, but I want you to understand. And I'm going to show you the reason why I'm saying this to tell you. Look, prayer is a dimension of man. But when I talk about dimension of God, so yes, listen, the art of worship and the art of prayer. As earlier as I said, that prayer, it is a communication between God and his people. So prayer, it's a way to maintain your relationship between you and God. That is between you and God. But when it comes to worship, that is between God and his people. So worship is the highest dimension. When you the first man to worship, when you check the Bible, I'm talking about a man. I don't talk about before the creation, but I mean about within the creation. Adam, he was the first man to worship. Adam was the first man. Listen, Adam was a man that was able to talk to God face to face. Enoch is the second man that introduced about prayer. Prayer started with Enoch. But Adam, it was worship. He was able to talk to God face to face. He was able to talk to God face to face. That's why when it comes to worship, you need to be introduced. God needs to call you when it comes to worship. Give an example. Abraham went to the mountain to worship. It was God told him to go to the mountain. The children of Israel, they have been told by God to go to the mountains, sacrifice. They went for worship. Moses as well, he used to be called by God to go to the mountain. So worship, you have to be introduced or to be called by God. So it is a way of communication between you and God. But prayer, it's all about yourself. When it comes to the art of prayer, prayer, it's governed by you. It's a way how you communicate with God. But when it means about worship, it's governed by God. That's why when it comes to worship, God is the one that appears to his people. But prayer, it's you. You need to follow God. I think you're getting the difference. So prayer is for babies. Prayer is all about asking. But worship, it's not about asking. It's about commanding things to take place. You are introduced to the high dimension where you are capable to produce. You are capable to command things to take place. This is what worship can do for you. This is the highest dimension of communication between you and God. But many people, there's so much focus to the dimension of prayer. Sometimes some of you think you are praying, whereas you are not praying, whereas you are in the channel of worship. Because in the place of worship, it is a place where servants are not being introduced. When Abraham was going to the mountain, carried his son. When he was going on his way, he left his servant on the way. Because in the place of worship, servanthood mentality is not around. I mean about mentality of the babies. This is the place of sons of God. Your mentality should not be someone who operates outside the kingdom, but you need to operate as the son of God. The mentality of being a beggar in the spirit is not around as the son of God. Because as being a son of God, you are capable to command things. You know what your father is and you know what's supposed to be done. These are people that knows the season and the manifestation, what's supposed to be done. That is the capacity of sonship. That's a capacity of sonship. It's an act of worship. Being a son of God, you have been given to govern. The dominion of the earth has been given to you. So you discuss with God in what's supposed to be done. You don't have the mentality of waiting upon God, asking what's supposed to be done. But a son knows what's supposed to be done. You have got the power to control. You don't live or you're not being saved as the son of God to wait to be taken to heaven. But being a son of God, God is with you. You exercise the dominion here on earth. To you, heaven is in you. You are not waiting, but you wake in faithfulness and operate according to the nature of God. When it comes to fellowship, you tell God things and sharing with Him what's supposed to be done. That's why there is a different way how God communicates with His people. There are people that cannot hear deep things of God because why? They are